You're listening to Puma Podcast.
Hi, this is Carol Ilagan reporting for Teka Teka. Madalas ka bang magpa-deliver ng pagkain sa bahay? Kapag wala ng oras magluto o di kaya naman nag-crave ka bigla. Suki ka ba ng mga ride-hailing apps? Kung yes ang sagot mo sa mga tanong na iyan, pareho tayo. Sa episode na ito, samahan niyo akong kilalanin ang ilan sa mga taong nasa likod ng paborito nating food delivery at ride-hailing platforms. This is the first in a two-part series about what goes on behind these apps. It's not just the technology, but the people it serves, us, and also the people that provide those services. In this episode, we talk about how lives have been changed by these tech innovations. We'll tackle what it's really like to be a rider or a driver. What if your everyday is dictated by an app? How flexible is the work here, really? These are some of the questions we'll try to answer in this episode. And make sure to follow Teka Teka so you don't miss the second part and all our other stories about algorithms, artificial intelligence, and how they impact our daily lives. This podcast was produced by Puma Podcast in partnership with the Pulitzer Center's AI Accountability Network. On a Thursday afternoon, just after the lunch rush, a pack of motorcycles pulled into a narrow alleyway in a Metro Manila city. The riders parked their bikes in front of a makeshift rest area. The space resembled a typical Pinoy tambayan. May isang mesa, bangko, at ilang monoblock chairs. Equipped with a wall fan and a water and a charging station, it's enough for the weary riders to rest and recharge before the merienda and dinner orders trickle in. There I met a former security guard, a factory worker, and a barangay staffer, all brought together by an app. Every day they crisscross the bustling city, wait at their designated spots in restaurants and cafes, and bring food to customers right at their doorsteps. The security guard, whom we will call Rico to protect his identity, joined GrabFood in 2019. GrabFood is one of the more popular food delivery services in the Philippines. It's one of the services offered by the super app Grab. The platform gave Rico a way out of the rigid 9-to-5 routine, though in his case, it was a grueling 7-to-7.
Walang amo.
Hindi ka nakahabol sa oras, kahit anong oras ka pwedeng gumising. Hindi kaya pagka may pilitan kang gumising ng 4. Sa QC ako office time.
Anong sa bangko po?
Oo.
Ay, gigising po kayo ng alas 4.
Tapos nakakauwi ako, alas 9 na. Kasi ako yung opener sa closing. Ako nagbubukas ng bangko, ako nagsasara. Hindi ako dumating, hindi sila makakapasok. Tapos pag uwi naman sila, antay ko pang umuwi silang lahat bago ako. Kasi ako nagsasara.
Melinda, also not her real name, joined the platform because it allowed the flexibility she needed as a mother of two. Also, it promised better pay.
Ako naman factory worker ako dati na. Pagkatapos factory worker, nag-canteen ako. Kasi yung mga anak ko sa dati, wala magbabanti, kaya nag-canteen na lang ako. Para nababanti ka sila sa umaga, saka nahihatid sa school.
Yung po kasi yung factory work, ano po yun eh? Anong oras po yun, ma'am?
Depende minsan pa may overtime, 12 hours, 8 hours. So, kasi po, nung nabalitaan ko po dito, nag-grab sa maganda kitaan dito. Sabi ko din, nag-try ako kuha. Tapos nag-grab na lang ako.
Another rider, whom we will call Lara, said she was doing okay with her previous barangay job, but she got enticed when Grab came in. The idea of not having a boss was undeniably appealing to her.
Yun lang.
Okay na ba tapos ang trabaho ko? Apo. Kaya lang, nung na-launch yung Grab dito, parang gusto ko siyang i-try. Hindi ako nag-apply. Sariling oras.
Walang awok mo. Walang awok.
No boss, The freedom to choose their own working hours and the promise of a higher income has become a major draw for Rico, Melinda, and Lara, and many more Filipinos to join the growing gig economy. Gig. We used to associate that term to a band's performance typically scheduled after work hours or the weekend. Now it has expanded to a wide variety of tasks, often done through digital platforms 24/7. Need a ride, got a food craving, or you forgot something from the grocery? Well, there's an app for that.
I just got our order for dinner. I love to cook, pero as a nanay, minsan nakakapagod na rin yung mag-isip ng lulutuin araw-araw. So on some days, we order in.
I asked some of my friends how many times they've had food delivered to them the past week.
The past week, nagpa-deliver ako ng food twice.
Twice nung weekdays and once nung weekend. Bale, 3 beses last week.
Ayoko na i-track. Parang ang dami. Basta.
Ba't ka padalas magpa-deliver?
Well, for one, convenient kasi kapag marami akong ginagawa tapos hindi na ako makalabas tapos hindi na rin ako makapagluto, nagpapadeliver na lang ako. Tapos minsan, kaya ako nagpapadeliver kasi meron akong gustong kainin pero malayo siya. Yung mga delivery services, kahit malayo, minsan kaya nilang i-deliver
Minsan pag may gusto akong itry na food online and wala akong time puntahan, so ayun, pinapa-deliver ko na lang. Pero most of the time, kapag walang time mag-prepare or kapag may celebration and kailangan na agad namin ng mga handa or food, ipapa-deliver na lang kami.
Mag-isa lang kasi ako sa bahay. And then, meron akong work. So, wala akong time magluto. Tsaka, parang mas tipid.
Customers, those who can afford, increasingly want convenience and services on demand. Tapos yung mga workers naman, they're looking for alternatives from the traditional 9 to 5. Companies, meanwhile, aim to cut costs. Dito papasok ang mga digital platforms to bridge all these needs. They capitalize on this trend by connecting merchants like restaurants and cafes to us, the customers, and in between are the so-called gig workers. In the gig economy, workers take on task-oriented and time-bound service jobs tulad ng pagde-deliver ng food, paghatid at pagsundo sa pasahero, and even shopping. Walang long-term contract kaya naman flexible daw. It allows workers to choose when and where to work, making it an ideal side hustle for those with regular jobs. Racket, kumbaga. We interviewed dozens of workers from October 2023 to June 2024 for this story. The benefits are undeniable for riders and drivers who treat this kind of work as a sideline para may panggas for the day or extra income when they have time to spare. Pero sa karamihan ng mga Pinoy, ang gig work ay hindi simpleng racket. It has become their main source of income. Malaking bagay ito para sa mga Pilipino, lalong na kung persistent pa rin ang kawalan ng trabaho sa bansa. Pero dahil hindi malinaw kung paano i-regulate ang mga apps na ito, dahil bago, kadalasan dehado ang mga manggagawa. Lara, the former barangay worker, showed me her earnings the day prior when we met. She earned more than 1,500 pesos.
Ma'am, yan po yung kita ko kagahapon.
Kahapon. Pero po, hindi pa po bawas dito yung ano natin.
Hindi pa po bawas
Hindi pa
yung
bawas yan.
gasolina, ma'am.
Gasolina, pagkain,
Pagkain.
hindi pa bawas yan.
Ma'am,
Parang
sorry
sarap
po.
tignan, no? 1.5 eh.
Net earning,
Ito po yung
tapos...
pinaka-net earning ko po. Kasi ito yung incentives na binibigay.
binigyan po kayo. Tapos may
Plus
nag-tip.
20.
Isa lang nag-tip sa inyo. Grabe.
Hindi lang.
Sa
For the 22 deliveries she made that day, Lara earned 1,372 pesos. She also got 200 pesos in incentives for making a certain number of trips and a 20 peso tip for a total of 1,592 pesos.
20 nga lang eh.
Pero ang habang oras na po yan.
Ilang oras yan?
Pero ilang oras po yan?
Ilang oras yan? 7 ako nag-start eh. 7. Nakuwi ako gabi. Alas 9 na.
So, 12 hours? More.
15 hours.
14 hours.
12 to 15 hours.
Oh,
po tayo.
15 hours yan.
The minimum daily wage in Metro Manila was 610 pesos at the time of the interview. Sa una, mukhang malaki ang arawang sulta ni Lara, di ba? Pero hindi pa dyan kasama ang iba-iba pa niyang gastos.
Gas.
Kulina. Kain.
Kain.
Pagkain. Load.
Load.
Maintenance ng motor.
Maintenance ng motor.
Kung ika-calculate po natin per day yung gas, mga magkano? Estimate lang.
Sa akin, 150 lang sa akin.
150. Kaya na po
Depende
yun.
sa biyahe.
Depende po
Depende sa biyahe.
Tapos, pagkain po, mga
Kain is ito.
ilang meals?
Merinda.
3 meals po ba yung lalaman?
Minsan nga hindi.
2 meals
Minsan nga,
minsan wala
2
akong
meals na lang.
1 meals
Minsan
lang
wala
ako eh.
pang almusal.
Para ano to?
I-estimate na lang po kaya natin na
150.
150 to 200 na rin yun. Parang ganun po. Ano, buong araw.
Kasi pag pagod ka sa biyahe, gutom ka rin.
Matipid na po nakain yun, ma'am. Yung
Yung
200 sa 3 times a day nakain. Almusal, tanghalian, hapunan. Kasi naabot po talaga kami ng hanggang alas 12. Madalas po yan. May uwi lang po kami sa aming mga pamilya.
Galing 300. 40
Hindi, may
na.
masira pa yung...
Bukod sa chains oil, ma'am, 340 pa rin yung chains oil. Nagpapalit mo, ma'am. 340 na po yun sa Ulda. Yung oil niya.
Nasa 500 kaya po, amat.
Hindi. Oh, hindi.
1,000.
Mas mataas.
Mataas po. Mataas na po kasi ngayon ang maintenance.
Labor pa.
Labor pa lang.
Labor pa.
1,000.
Abot ka ng sending.
Almost.
We did some rough calculations to compare Lara's earning less her expenses for that day versus the minimum daily wage. We arrived at 87 pesos per hour, slightly higher than the 76 peso per hour kung gagamiting basihan ang minimum daily wage. Pero dahil sinama namin sa computation ang incentive na hindi naman laging nakukuha, the take-home pay could be lower, and much lower if Lara still had to pay her motorcycle loan. Kung sakaling mataas ng kaunti ang kita sa platform, matinding pagod naman raw ang dinaranas nila.
Kaya talon-talon
So,
talaga
yan
kami.
talaga, hindi pa ano yun. Minsan may sira eh.
Minsan,
Mahal ang pisa eh.
Tapos po, ilang araw po kayo na biyahe?
amboy. Araw-araw.
Ngayon
Araw-araw. Ito walang pahinga. Ako nagpapahinga naman ako.
Ano papahinga naman ako?
Ano papahinga ako?
Kasi po pwede no? Kung kailan mo nga naman gusto eh, no?
Wala naman kasi ano eh.
Pero hindi po
Time
siya yung...
card
Kasi yung idea nga po ay kung kailan mo lang gusto na parang hindi araw-araw. Ngayon naman, kung gusto mo talaga na araw-araw, pwede.
Araw-araw talaga parang trabaho mo na rin.
Trabaho, hindi ko
If you're
pwede
listening to
mag-araw-araw.
this podcast, you're probably among millions every day who have availed of these services. For us, it's thinking about what we want for lunch, opening the app, searching for a restaurant, choosing from the menu, and voila! A rider will be assigned to get your food for you. But there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than we realize. At the heart of these apps are algorithms that suggest merchants to customers, assign riders and drivers to passengers, and compute fares and incentives. This innovation makes things efficient and convenient for everybody. But it's also designed to make money. Our research shows that platforms like GrabCar, GrabFood, Joyride, and Angkas implement various incentive schemes designed to encourage workers to complete more orders and bookings every day. These incentives are offered on top of their standard pay, functioning as bonuses awarded when workers meet specific delivery or ride targets, much like a game. And because companies can restructure or reduce fares, or for example, more recently, deduct the senior citizen and PW discounts from the workers' pay, many workers really go for the app's incentive program. The implications are potentially serious. It could pose health risks and occupational danger to the workers and, by extension, the customers. These incentive programs may also discourage workers from multi-homing or the practice of working on different platforms, which further limits their flexibility and earning potential.
So, andito ako ngayon sa may Jokno Boulevard, yung malapit sa may GSIS at Senate. Pinuntahan ko yung Diwata Pares Overload because nakwento sa akin ng mga drivers at riders na dito pala sila tumatambay para kumain. So apparently, bukas siya 24/7. So, dito ko nakilala yung ibang mga riders and drivers na nagkwento kung paano sila nag-take ng break pagka walang biyahe or nakapatay yung kanilang mga apps.
Dito ko nakilala ang isang Grab driver. Tawagin natin siyang Arnold. Dating overseas Filipino worker si Arnold for more than 2 decades. He has 3 children, 2 of whom graduated college already. Ngayon, siya ay nagbaboundary at minamaneho ang kotse ng kanyang kapatid. Arnold is from Batangas. To save on costs and complete as many rides as he can, he sleeps in his car and goes home to the province only during Wednesdays, his coding day. There are others like him who by now already know most of Metro Manila by heart and the places where they could park their car and not get towed, take a bath, and rest.
Pagka kasi ang aking coding every Wednesday. Then pagka minsan Tuesday pa lang ng gabi or minsan bago Miyerkules ng madaling araw na uwi ako. Kung halimbawa minsan Martes pa lang ng hapon, pag ako binibigyan na ni Grab ng pasahero na malayo, paparting mga Santa Rosa or Tagaytay, hindi na ako nabalik. Doon na lang. Destination na lang. Then pagka naman sa naluwas ako, na minsan may nakukuha pasahero, minsan wala. Hindi parang shoulder ko yung talagang gasolina.
Arnold says he's trying to look for a place to rent. The problem, however, is finding parking space too.
Kasi mahirap na matutulog ka ng sarap na sarap ng tulog mo. Then nasasakyan naman iwan mo lang kung saan na hindi safe. Para hindi ka rin makakatulog ng Hindi kagaya dito, kahit na dito na tulog sa kalsada. Kasi dito ko na
Dito na po sa kotse?
Oo.
Because he practically lives in his car, he gets to drive whenever he can. Admittedly, the sleep is far from comfortable.
Ano oras po kayo yung lumalabas na para
Sa akin, wala kasi akong oras. Kung halimbawa minsan, pag ako nagising ng madaling araw, at medyo hindi na ako makatulog, then ibubuhay ko na si apps. Ibubuhay ko siya ni apps. Ganyan, yung binuhay ko. Tapos tinignan ko siya kung merong ganyan. Kung i-open ko, tapos may pumasok.
Arnold is able to reach his target income, including the 100 peso boundary a day. Not all drivers own their vehicle. Many drive other people's cars and remit a boundary at the end of the day. Another setup is called boundary hulog, where a driver pays both boundary and hulog for the car so they get to own it after a few years. With GrabCar, drivers can reach higher tiers, silver, gold, or platinum, based on the number of rides they complete. The higher the tier, the lower the kaltas or the commission Grab takes from their earnings, with a standard rate being 21%. To reach platinum, the highest tier, a driver needs to make 450 rides in 1 month, 400 for gold, and 250 for silver. Sa food delivery naman, mayroon ring incentives. In rider parlance, they call it butas. On their phone screens, there are round icons that can be unlocked by earning gems. One ride earns 10 gems. The more rides they take, the more gems, the higher the incentive. In 2019, the riders I interviewed said they could easily earn 800 pesos in incentives, but Grab has changed the scheme several times. The same number of rides would earn them a lower amount now.
28 rides.
Yung 28 rides po, ilang araw po?
Depende. So po, 12 oras.
Hindi na kaya ng depende ma'am sa abutin pag malakas o wala. Pag
Mahirap na ma-hit itong
mahirap
28
abutin na
rides.
to eh.
Sa isang araw.
Riders also try to reach a higher tier to earn other rewards such as insurance, which at the time of the interview is provided to those who have gold and platinum status. Similar to GrabCar, workers first enter as members and can then move up to the silver, gold, and platinum tier. To reach platinum, a rider needs to make 480 rides in 1 month.
Kami doon, mangyayari, hindi nga na matutulog kasi ang isang buwan, 480.
Ilang bisis, ako po sa personal, ilang bisis ko po naranasan na tumatakbo po ako minsan hindi napaidlip, nasa gutter na po ako.
Totoo yan, ma'am.
Totoo po yan
Ako
kasi
nakakapikit ako eh.
kaya po ng isip mo, pero yung katawan mo, surrender po nang dahil doon sa puya.
Gaano kadalas yan, ma'am?
Sa akin, minsan nga pinagbibiyahe ko, nakakapikit ako.
Napapaidlip na po pala, delikado. Kasi dire-diretso nga po.
Pinipilit mo po kasi mga ituloy-tuloy yung biyahe mo para lang po kumita.
Saan mo yung ng hangin? Kasi minsan nakakauto kayo pag nag-drive sa
Totoo naman yun, ma'am.
Pinipilit si biyahe para mahabol yung ni Grab na
target na incentives.
John
James or yung
Platinum.
yung Platinum.
The writer said this number is hard to reach, especially if they serve an area outside the most busy cities, like Makati, for instance. We reached out to Grab about the incentive program. We asked how the company ensures that the app's algorithm does not cause harm or encourage behavior that might pose risks to workers. Grab said it has always prioritized passenger safety. Quote, "We have implemented several measures to safeguard our drivers and passengers. Our platform includes features that monitor driver activity and prompt brakes if prolonged driving hours are detected. Safety features are part of our commitment to preventing fatigue-related incidents. Grab also continuously assesses and evaluates the safety records of our drivers to ensure that only drivers with excellent driver safety records are allowed to service commuters." Quote, "We also asked the company if it has tested these kinds of incentive programs and their potential impact on workers before implementing them. For instance, does the company track the number of hours workers spend on the road? We also asked for a copy of these reports, if available." Grab said, quote, "Our incentive programs are designed with the well-being of our driver partners in mind. We regularly review and refine these programs to ensure they promote safe and sustainable driving practices. While specific operational details are confidential, we assure you that our policies are aligned with industry best practices and regulatory requirements." Quote, about the reports we requested, Grab said that as a publicly listed company, it adheres to regulations concerning the disclosure of material, non-public information. Quote, "We are committed to transparency and compliance with regulatory standards," quote, the firm said. Angkas had initially entertained our request for an interview, but did not give one eventually. Joyride has not responded to our interview request as of press time. A 2023 study published by Fair Work Philippines, a project led by the De La Salle University with the Ateneo de Manila University, University of the Philippines Diliman, and partners from the University of Oxford shows that the 10 most popular platforms in the Philippines failed to meet the minimum standards of fair work. The report evaluated ang CAS, Borzo, GrabCar, GrabFood, and GrabExpress, Foodpanda, Joyride, Joyride Car, Lalamove, Maxim, and TokTok. GrabCar came on top with 3 out of 10 points. It was still far behind the minimum. When there are poor employment options, these platforms enable workers to provide for their families' daily needs. But the researchers found critical issues of platform-related debt, lack of safety net, and long-term financial insecurity. Ayon naman sa pag-aaral ng mga ekonomista sa Philippine Institute for Development Studies o PIDS, ang mga problemang ito ng mga riders at drivers ay bunga ng pagkakaroon ng asymmetries o kawalan ng balanse na inherent o likas daw sa mga apps o platforms. These asymmetries give rise to structural inequalities, where companies like Grab, Angkas, Joyride, and Foodpanda benefit the most, followed by merchants like our go-to restaurants and cafes, and then us, the customers. Ang nasa bottom ay ang mga workers. They also grapple with the least information and understanding about how things work on the platform, how fares are calculated, why they are getting pickups that are too far, how to contest low ratings, resolve disputes, and address account suspension and termination. For instance, Grab driver Rolly, not his real name, got temporarily blocked from the app because he supposedly received bad ratings from a customer. A passenger complained that he still collected money from him even when he was paying through GrabPay.
So ang ginawa ko, nagreklamo ako kay Grab. Sir, wala akong, ginanon ko sa Sir, ma'am, sabi ko sa Grab, wala po akong siningil sa kanya. Alam ko po ang obligasyon ko bilang driver. Hindi po ako maging patas naman po tayo. Ba't ganun sila lang pwede magreklamo? Paano kami? Sabi kong ganun. Tapos maya-maya nag-reply sa akin ng Grab.
Rolly said a Grab representative responded to him in English, saying that they would look into the matter. The staffer said they would relay the information to the customer and wait for his feedback.
Hintayin pa namin yung feedback niya. Kung hindi mag-feedback yan, di wala din. O kung mag-feedback man yan, ano sasabihin niya? Hindi, nagbayad kami. Siningil pa rin kami, naka-cashless kami. O, sino bang papaboran nila? Hindi naman kaming driver, sila pa rin. Kaya totoo yun, ma'am. Totoo, nangyari sa akin yung 2 beses. Kaya mahirap
Ano po, na-block po kayo noong
Na-block ako ng 5 hours.
5 hours? Kaya umuwi po muna kayo?
Umuwi na lang ako kasi wala din akong makukuha ang pasahero.
Tapos yung pag-block na yon, wala kang magagawa na muna doon?
Wala ho.
Hindi pwedeng ma-verify pala muna sa driver po, kasi hindi mo naman alam kung totoo nga na naningil nga
Basta,
pa ang driver.
ganun kasi si Grab. Mayroon talaga kagad silang hatol. Kahit na, basta yung pasahero nagreklamo, may hatol kagad sila sa driver. Wala silang equality. Kasi yun naman po talaga, at sa totoo lang, ang platform nila, ma'am, gumagana as ma-boost. Para ma-boost po yung dami ng pasahero. Maraming tumangkilik sa Grab kasi cheaper at komportable.
GrabCar actually has a better record when managing these kinds of disputes, according to the 2023 report of Fair Work Philippines. In the research, GrabCar and GrabExpress each scored a point for having communication channels that were accessible to workers, such as support chat and safety center within the app. On their website, there's a step-by-step guide on how to resolve a variety of concerns with instructions written in Filipino. Should the worker still need help, a form is available for further assistance. As for the rest of the platforms, the researchers learned from workers that the apps are unresponsive when dealing with such concerns. If ever they respond, they reply slowly and inconsistently that render any support unreliable for them. The report also found that support communication is typically fast for concerns related to customer issues, while response takes days or is hard to get for workers' issues like unfair deactivations, penalties, and the like. The app making executive decisions like this is a common pain point among drivers. Another frequent concern is the app's suggested route. This is used to compute and show fares upfront, but it doesn't always reflect the actual route taken by the driver. For example, when the app suggests a route that goes through roads with tolls, customers can direct drivers to pass elsewhere to save on toll fees. This means the calculated fare, which will be paid by the customer, would not match the actual distance and duration of the ride. One driver suggested that perhaps the app could give customers route options with or without toll. Customers also need to be better informed about how the app works. To be sure, the PIDS study also highlighted that platforms bear a lot of risks too, and that not all startups are successful. Quote, upfront investments are made in building the platform, and losses are incurred in scaling up before network effects are achieved, quote, according to the research. For instance, Grab's local subsidiary, MyTaxiPH, has incurred recurring losses in the past, resulting in a capital deficiency of 8.2 billion pesos in 2021 and 7.7 billion pesos in 2020. Its 2021 financial statement obtained from the Securities and Exchange Commission noted that, quote, these conditions, among others, indicate a material uncertainty which may cast significant doubt about the company's ability to continue as a going concern and therefore that it may be unable to realize its assets and discharge its liabilities in the normal course of business, quote. Itong losses raw na ito ay na-incur while the company was in the stage of aggressively growing its business. Paano? Through, quote, market penetration and building brand loyalty from drivers and passengers, end quote. The auditors also noted, quote, Grab Holdings Incorporated, the mother company, provides financial and operational support to MyTaxiPH and is committed to continue providing such support to enable the company to continue as a going concern, end quote. In this episode, we learned about what it's like to be an app worker. Now, I have a totally different appreciation for our riders and drivers since I started reporting for this story. Every time I make an order, I think about who will receive it and how my order figures in their daily target. When I can, I give more generous tips. I try not to cancel. I try not to be a difficult customer. At the very least, I try to learn more about the app and how my activities there affect their bottom line. Of course, I know that being a better customer or having more empathy for riders and drivers won't solve the problem overall. It's not just us, the customers, nor the workers who have the power to fix the system. In the next episode, we ask, who should be responsible for all this? What's the role of the companies? What is the government doing? And what should it be doing to protect gig workers? This is Carol Ilagan, the writer and producer of this episode for Teka Teka. This episode was edited by Pidoy Blanco. Jill Caro is the executive producer. Carl Javier is the editor-in-chief of Teka Teka. This podcast was produced in partnership with the Pulitzer Center's AI Accountability Network. You've been listening to Puma Podcast. If you have friends who rely on apps on a daily basis, share this episode with them. Maraming salamat.